Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday in this warm July Friday. I am so glad that you joined me, Deb Burton, host of Friday Friends and executive director of RI Elder Info. And every Friday, I bring you a guest who is doing something that you or someone you know needs to know about. And so it is extremely important that you help us get the word out, that you hit the like button, the share button, the follow button, the bells, the whistles, all those social media cues that say, hey, check this out. This is a really important topic. You know, today we are talking about caregiver supports when you're caring for someone with an advanced illness. And this is a category of topics that is near and dear to my heart. And so it's really important that you help share the word, because I know that there are many other individuals out there who are caregivers. So please, all those social media cues. Now, as you all know, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we could not bring you Friday Friends without your support and the support of our sponsors. So a big thank you to Point 32 Health Foundation, United Healthcare, and especially our Friday Friends sponsor, McCarthy Law. Here's a message from McCarthy Law.
Here at McCarthy Law, we practice in the areas of estate planning, long-term care planning, elder care law, and residential real estate. Our focus is really on providing peace of mind to our clients.
If you're interested in scheduling a consultation with our office, you can feel free to reach out to us at 401-541-5540. You can also reach out via website at www.mccarthylawri.com. You also should check out our social media, both on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for some helpful tips and tricks.
Good morning, Deanna Upchurch from Hope Health. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Deb? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So please share with everybody, what is your role at Hope Health?
Sure. I'm the Senior Director of Clinical Outreach and Community Relations, and that involves a number of the resources that we have here at Hope Health, including our grief support, our caregiver support, also I oversee our volunteer program. We have about 250 hospice volunteers here at Hope Health. I also have a pediatric palliative care program on our Massachusetts side of things, and I also oversee our Alzheimer and dementia programs.
Holy cannoli. I bet you don't have time to even blink with that many different things that you're responsible for. Holy, wow.
Okay, I have a really great team of people. Certainly there is no I in team, and I have a really great team of people that work with me to provide all of these services.
Amen to that. So tell me, what do you feel are Hope Health's strong points in communicating with caregivers out there? What are some of the opportunities that you offer through Hope Health?
Yeah, there are quite a bit of things that we offer to our caregivers. So I think, first of all, just talking about Hope Health, the entity of Hope Health. And so we are going into our 50th year in Rhode Island. And we also cover large portions of Massachusetts as well. But we are also the second oldest hospice in the United States. And as a nonprofit, that's really an important and very significant, piece of our history and what we do here. So for caregivers, specifically, we see caring for the patient, whether it's in advanced illness care or in hospice, as not just caring for the patient, but for the whole family. And so we really have that holistic approach of caring for the caregiver throughout the experience as well, right? It is a full wraparound program of services in that no matter when a patient comes to us, we are always also looking at how can we care for the caregiver. Some of the ways that we do that. Oh,
yeah, please. I was going to say, so when you are working with a family and someone has been admitted to, you used a couple words that I don't know that everybody is familiar with.
Sure.
You had mentioned palliative care.
Mm-hmm.
What is palliative care? Just in a big picture sense.
Sure. So palliative care is kind of, we look at it as before hospice. Sometimes people come to Hope Health and they're not ready for hospice. Hospice is, right, we are looking at a diagnosis that has a prognosis of 6 months or less. We are looking at really providing comfort measures only to those patients. And so when we talk about palliative care, a person that is qualifies for palliative care is a person that is coming to us that has an advanced illness. And we call our palliative care program our advanced illness care program. Is a person that has an advanced illness, but still wants to receive treatment, still is, it is not comfort measures only. And so that patient can receive care at home, which is really, a wonderful opportunity to be able to still be in your home and be able to be cared for there. We have a nurse that goes out and a social worker, and then we have caregiver support in that we have caregiver support groups. We have caregiver education. Upcoming, we actually have an expressive arts series for caregivers. It's called The Art of Hope. And so it's a 4-part series just for caregivers to be able to attend and kind of, take care of themselves. We really emphasize taking care of oneself when they're caregiving for another person.
Very cool. It's the things that we don't often think of when we are caregiving for someone who does have an advanced illness. What is the palliative care versus hospice? And a lot of times it's the words are used in opposite directions. So hospice and palliative care, and someone who's not ready for hospice may not hear the word palliative care and be able to take advantage of the different types of support available for caregivers. And one thing I wanted to double check, when we're talking about supporting caregivers at home, does hospice or palliative care send in staff 24 hours, 7 days a week, or are you really supporting the family caregiver?
Hospice or palliative care or advanced illness care, we are available. So you can call us 24/7. We don't have somebody in the home 24/7, but we always are available, right? So if there's somebody that needs to call and say, I'm not sure, there's a change in the status of the person that I'm caring for, and I'm concerned about that, or I'm a caregiver and I need to talk to someone, right? At this time, this has just been a really overwhelming weekend, right? We have social workers that are on call. So we do have availability to be able to, take care of our patients and caregivers 24/7, but we don't actually have somebody, in the home with them during all.
Got it.
I think that's the confusion that happens for people. They're not really sure, right, what that's about.
Yeah.
Certainly, there's more involvement in being with the family. There's more involvement in being in the home or the long-term care setting or wherever the patient resides. There are, chaplains and volunteers, hospice volunteers. So there's a lot more availability for that support when a patient does get to hospice because the need is greater, of course.
Yeah. So you mentioned some of the ways that there is caregiver support available. What are some of the other ways, or how can a chaplain or a volunteer help support that caregiver who's caring for someone whose illness is advanced?
Mm-hmm. I really feel that when we have any patient and their caregiver that are on service with us, particularly when they get to hospice, the volunteers. So volunteers are part of hospice, but not part of advanced illness care. But we do have volunteers, which they do provide caregiver support groups for advanced illness care. When you get over to the hospice side of things, our volunteers are able to come in and provide companionship, not just for the patient, but also for the caregiver, right? I mean, there's Reiki support. I can't tell you how many families have said, we've received Reiki support, not just for the person who is receiving hospice care, but also for the caregiver and other family members, right? The caregivers need so much, not just support, but really the self-care in the mind, body, spirit sense, as of course, right? And so our volunteers have been able to, take a caregiver to get their hair cut or their hair done, right? Or to the grocery store or for a walk or stay with the patient so that the caregiver can get out a little bit. Walk pets. I mean, any sorts of things. I think kind of sky is the limit many times when we talk about what our volunteers are able to do. And certainly when we have hospice care, we have our hospice aides that are, certainly in the home more often to help with ADLs. Our chaplains can be available, of course, to the entire family, just providing that spiritual and emotional support as well. And our social workers. So we have a great team of social workers, both in advanced illness care and in hospice, that really can be there to support the family at whatever the pressing need is at the time, because we know that changes as time goes on.
Absolutely. How does a caregiver know when they should be reaching out for support? What are some of the telltale signs that it's like, okay, this is a lot?
Yes. So when anyone comes onto service with Hope Health, we are actually reaching out to them right from the beginning. So we are reaching out to caregivers right from the beginning, whether it's advanced illness care or hospice care, and calling and saying, what can we do to help, right? If it's a patient that has a diagnosis of a dementia-related diagnosis, or a patient that is a veteran, those two populations, we call, we offer the support, but we offer a veteran pinning ceremony for a patient who is a veteran, many times involving the caregiver and making sure that, who they want to be at that ceremony is there. Sometimes it's 5 people, sometimes it's 50 people. We also reach out and offer a dementia toolkit for caregivers, and it involves a number of different pieces of resources of information. And one that we really find very valuable that our caregivers can discuss with a social worker or with a volunteer or with anybody on our team, really, one of the nurses even, is a caregiver kind of needs assessment. And that changes over time, right? So we always encourage, you can take this short form assessment and we can help identify what your area of greatest need is today, knowing that if you take this assessment for yourself again, a week later, a month later, your needs may change. And we expect that, right? And then we want to be able to tailor, what is the greatest need for this person? Is it that they're physically burnt out? Or is that they're missing the social, the socialization that they once had before that they're missing now? Or is another area of concern even perhaps looking at what my life might be like if I no longer have this person in my life anymore, right? And reviewing their relationship together. So we look at what is the outcome of that assessment, and then we rise to what that need is, whether it's social work or a caregiver support group or a spiritual care visit, a volunteer. Our volunteers are so incredibly well-versed in caregiving themselves. Many of them have been caregivers themselves and have returned back to us. And so they love being able to give back, but specifically, I cared for somebody living with Parkinson's disease, and I want to be able to connect with somebody who is now caring for someone with Parkinson's disease, not because I know all the answers, but because we have a common link, and I want to be able to help them.
I think that's so important because what I've found, and this is not scientific in any kind of way, it just seems to be what I have experienced, is someone gets a diagnosis and they and the caregiver are scrambling to make the appointments for the doctors and the tests and all of those things. And they're trying to find their footing as to what a new normal is. And so there's a lot of energy that is expended in identifying the new normal. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you're going, gas pedal to the metal, but it's not sustainable over time. Right. And that's where caregivers sometimes will reach out and say, I'm tired, but I feel like I shouldn't be tired. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the big flags that, I want to get people connected to the support groups that are out there. I love that you offer, disease specific as well as just kind of a global support system.
Thank you.
If people have more questions, who can they reach out to?
Sure. So we have a caregiver support line. It's 401-415-4664. And so that line is managed 5 days a week. So if the call comes in on the weekend, they will get a call back on Monday. And it is all volunteers who have been caregivers themselves. So when we have our dementia caregiver support groups, those volunteers have all cared for a person from the time of diagnosis throughout their illness. And so they really understand the needs. So they're the ones answering a lot of the caregiver phone line. Most of the time, they're the ones answering. And I want to just make sure that I'm clarifying too that all of our caregiver support offerings a person does not have to be receiving Hope Health services. It can
wow.
be, it can be anyone in the community that is interested in just, I'm a caregiver and I have questions and I need to connect with other people. They can attend our caregiver support groups. We have a caregiver confidence series, which is usually a 4-part series, and it's disease specific, as you said. So the diagnosis that we are specializing in communicating about for caregiver confidence this summer is a dementia related diagnosis. We just finished a series that was Parkinson's related. And for the fall, we will have caring for a loved one who is a veteran. So we really try to be very specific and intentional about the offerings that we have. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows that this can be any caregiver. It is really what needs to happen for caregivers in the community. The person does not need to be receiving care from Hope Health at the time. I do think that, once conversations develop, and sometimes these caregivers are in our support groups for months to a couple of years before they even need any kind of services like what we offer. But when they do, they feel confident that we'll be able to help take care of them and their loved one.
And for these support programs that you're offering for anybody in the community, is there a cost involved?
No.
So they're free.
That's right. Yep. Our support groups, our education, our expressive arts workshop, it is all free. As a nonprofit, we really believe in offering free services to people, and that these resources are accessible to anyone that needs them.
That is amazing because, there's been some very sad stories, particularly around individuals who have dementia that have been in the news lately. And I think it's just so important that the caregivers get the support that they need when they need it without having to worry about the cost barrier, or whether or not, their loved one is or isn't receiving services at a specific space. So I really appreciate that Hope Health offers this to everyone in the community. I also noticed that I get, for my own satisfaction, you offer trainings to professionals as well.
We do. Thanks for bringing that up here today. We do. So we have quite a long list of offerings. We kind of do an academic calendar. So we have a series of presentations that are available for the summer, and then we'll have one for the fall and then one for the spring. And Lisa Wasson is our community nurse educator. She presents most of the material that is there. She is certified dementia specialist as well, but she presents all types of information regarding hospice and palliative care, caring for a loved one with dementia, but also a lot of different dementia topics. These are all for professionals, but yet what I find is that we have professionals in our community who are caring for a loved one as well. So they want to be able to attend that level of education. And then sometimes they also attend the Caregiver Confidence series, but really that professional education. And what's great about it is there's CEs for social workers and nurses. So there's just such a variety that's offered. I think on the calendar this summer is some education around caring for anyone who is living with an illness who is from our LGBTQ community, which is just an amazing, offering to be out there and to make sure that we are providing the care that, is best for that community at the right time, and being sensitive to the needs of people. So yes, we do have that virtual ed that is really just growing and just been such a great way to connect with professionals in our network.
Yeah, the amount of information and resources that you provide to the community for free really is amazing. With everything on your plate, I am so grateful that you were able to take the time today. I know I said like 10, 15 minutes. I've kept you like twice as long as I promised. So I am so grateful that you were able to come on today.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me here today. So just one more thing I'll pitch, if I can, is that Hope Health is kind of known for their grief support services too. And that's the other thing I just want to share, is that caring for a caregiver for a family doesn't mean that, when we lose our patient or our family member, that, the care ends there. And so our grief support services are available to families. We have so many grief support groups that are available for free at no charge, and you don't have to have used Hope Health services for those either. So just want to make sure people understand that, we're available for people, for families from beginning and after.
Huge, 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 huge. So important, because maybe I'll have you come on at another time to talk about when you've been the caregiver for a very long time, and in that grief process after you've lost them, for some folks, it's trying to figure out what is their identity when they're not a caregiver anymore.
Absolutely.
So I would love to have you back on to talk about that as well.
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you so much, Deb. I really appreciate you letting me come and talk with you today.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Everybody, these are some wonderfully kind, compassionate individuals who are offering these services of supporting caregivers for free. Whether you are someone who is a caregiver as a professional and you'd like to learn more to improve your skills as a professional, you can get continuing education units through their professional training services series, as well as if you are that family member who is really struggling and saying, I don't know how to do these things. I don't know what to expect. I want to talk to somebody who's kind of been through it. I need that extra help. We are all in this together, and it's important that we reach out and we support one another as we go forward in this world. And Hope Health is there to offer those connections to you for free. So I am so grateful that you joined me today and you've stayed on for this longer than usual conversation, but I felt it was so important to get this information out. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. I hope you have all registered to come see us at our Calling All Veterans Day event on Saturday, August 16th, 10 to 1 at the CB Museum. It's a free event, and it is open to veterans, their families, the community, to everyone. I look forward to seeing you there as well. In the meantime, be well and be kind.